What is up, everybody? This is Dr. Jekyll here from Hyde and Jekyll. Got an interesting one here to talk about today, and that is the game called Hunger. So, what we're going to be talking about here is what is hunger and what is the game design, the game loop, gameplay loop, the whole nine with it. So, Hunger is a first person extraction, a looter shooter with a combat system involved in with it. Uh, and I wouldn't just say it's a melee combat system, only because there is the shooting, but there's the melee with different talent trees that branch out into different play styles that you could do as far with the melee. So that's where I'm just gonna say it's a different type of combat system. It is unique, and it's a fun one. It's been fun. We've been delving into it pretty hard here. So the main premises of games that I'd probably combine it with is uh the loot aspect of like your typical Tarkov, Gray Zone, Arc Raiders, anything like that, where you have to actually loot things and find things. And it goes into an inventory, then you have to extract with it. But as far as the gameplay overall structure goes, I'm definitely going to put this one on a unique side. It is a slower paced of a gameplay loop. Um, when you first get in, you are going to have 6 different characters to choose from. So we got Eva here. This one is going to have the passive trait of Marathon, reducing the amount of stamina consumed when sprinting by 35%. You get a nice tactical, which is Lightfoot, lets you move silently for 30 seconds. And then your ultimate is Blind. Blind's all living for 5 seconds within a 10-meter radius. So that one is a very unique, could be very good for solo play, solo like melee sneaky build or combat build. Next, we got Gabriel. He is the one I currently play, and I like him because he's kind of like a little bit of a aggressive, yet not tanky, but like he kind of fits aggressive playstyle. So his passive is Charge, increase sprint speed by 10%, and his tactical is Line Infantry. He takes 25% less range damage for 15 seconds. And then you got your ultimate Sadist. For the next 30 seconds, you heal for 50% of the damage you deal. Now, as a player, this is great because not only do you just have faster sprint speed, but you also get the 25% damage reduction, especially if you know you're about to get into a firefight. You can pop that, and if you get hit, you're taking 25% less damage, which makes a massive difference. Honestly, it really does. It means you can almost take an extra bullet, depending, maybe even 2, depending on what type of armor you have. And then your ultimate is just like great for being aggressive or being a very, like, if you can deal damage and you're good and you get situational awareness, either you're a good shot or you understand the melee concept of the game. I think Gabriel will be one of the strongest characters in my opinion, just because you can heal yourself indefinitely for 30 seconds as long as you're dealing damage. And it works against players, it works against AI. It is very strong. But like I said, it's a give and a take. Because you don't have any other passives to kind of really negate that. Like, as you know, blind, this one being able to blind everything for 5 seconds. I mean, that's a really good getaway if you need to, or even Lightfoot, where people can't hear you. And same with some of these other characters, like as Hugo here. His is passive, the Taste of Blood. All movement speed is increased by 15% when you have a melee weapon. Then your tactical is Zealot. Absorb 100% of damage dealt by the next ranged weapon shot last 30 seconds. And your ultimate is Maniac. Take 25% reduced damage for 10 seconds. Now, personally, I think I wouldn't mind seeing this maybe, I think he could be tweaked a little bit. And the only reason I say that is because he has some decent abilities, and definitely the Taste of Blood. The 15% movement speed while having melee equipped is really good for a character that wants to the almost like a, I wouldn't say a juggernaut, but maybe like a zug, like a warrior type. You kind of just want to go in and bash the fuck out of things, because in your talent tree you can spec into a lot of different stamina reductions and energy reductions for your actual melee attacks, and regen your stamina while sprinting. So there's definitely some great gameplay mechanics that could be around, you know, this type of movement that would make you a very hard target to hit, because as you'll see, shooting is, it's going to take a little bit to get used to the shooting in the game. It's not just your click, point, shoot, and you hit the target. It's a little different. It's a little bit more in depth than that. So I think like this character, the only thing that I think, like, I like the 25% damage reduction for 10 seconds. Like, that's nice. I think that could even be maybe bumped up to like 30 or maybe 40, because these cooldowns, these ultimates do take forever. They are like a 5 or 6 minute cooldown. So you can't just pop them left and right. They're pretty long. And this one, absorbing just the next split. I maybe next 2. I would say maybe next 2. I think I would be okay with that, but we'll see how it plays out. Next, you got Mary. This is going to be a healing class. So she has Gentle Touch as her passive. Reduce the time to revive others by 50%. Tactical is Vespers. Heals self for 50 health over 100 seconds, but damage taken cancels the effect. The ultimate is Mending Prayer. Heals allies within 10 meters for 100 health over 100 seconds. Damage also cancels the effect. So this class is obviously a very strong support class, because you can even spec into talents for an extra, I think, up to 25% reduced healing or revive time. So with Mary, I mean, your revives are insanely fast. So in a team play, it is absolutely crucial. Like, she is going to be a very, very strong target. And unfortunately, she's probably going to be the one to target that you actually want to focus like fire on if you are playing trios and you see her, or even if you are playing solo and you see a trio. I would definitely be focusing on their healer, because yeah, their abilities are so strong for like support group. It's gonna be 100% like that's your main focus here. So this class, I think, is designed very well so far. Then you got Auto. Passive is Maintenance. Repairs an armor bar every 60 seconds after armor is damaged. So the effect begins 60 seconds after last receiving damage. So this is pretty strong once you would get higher in and you would get better armor, and I'll go into that later on. Tactical Field Repairs mends 1 bar of armor for all allies within 10 meters over 30 seconds. Damage will also cancel the effect. And then Masterwork repairs 100% of your armor over the course of 10 seconds. Damage taken cancels the effect. So this honestly is another really good support class, especially depending on, like, maybe if you would get higher into like the game in the beginning. Unfortunately, all of this is useless in the beginning of the game. I'm not gonna lie to you, only because, well, armor and all that is really kind of non-existent in the beginning. I mean, you'll have it, you'll find it, you'll start out with maybe a couple little cloth or leather armor sets that give you 1 or 2 armor bars, but realistically, it's harder to find like your actual tools and whatnot, and some of your armor repair kits, or your armor plates, I should say, to put in there to utilize really him as a benefit. Now, I would say overall, like in the more of the end game side, he would probably be a lot stronger, because if you're having the epic and legendary armor where you do have like 5 and, you know, I think a 5 or up to 6 armor bars on your character, that would be huge. And honestly, it can maybe even go more, because you can spec into Greaves, which then also give you stacking armor. So realistically, like, yeah, I don't think in the beginning he's going to be strong. So he's going to be like kind of one of those unfortunate characters that in the beginning you're going to feel like you're useless. But then, like, when you get to like mid end game and you are chunked out, you're decked out in talents, and you can, you know, put on leg armor, and then you have all these different armor bars, that you can actually heal without needing to manually repair or use an armor plate for, I think actually auto will be very strong towards the end game side. So, like I said, at the beginning, you're going to feel useless, but end game, I think you're going to feel actually pretty viable. Then we got Serene. This is kind of like this is a great counter character. And what I mean by that is you got your passive here is Voodoo Spirit, makes you immune to poison. Huge. Okay. Poison fucks you up in this game. Tactical, you move 20% faster for 20 seconds. Really good. Okay. Really nice maneuverability, and kind of get me the fuck out of here type situation that you're like fast as fuck, boy. And then you got Voodoo Bomb. Deploys a poison cloud at your location, poisoning all living enemies that pass through it. Lasts 30 seconds. Additionally, move 20% faster for 10 seconds. So, the other movement speed increase. Here's the big thing that people don't know about the game yet is when you get poisoned. So you could put this at, like, say you know somebody's like blocking your entry or whatnot, or they're about to rush you because maybe they downed one of your players. Boom, pop a voodoo bomb at the door or at the entryway, wherever. So now they can't go through it, and if they do, they get poisoned, they take damage, and they leave a lingering trail that you can actually track them. And the poison stays on your character for like a solid 2 or 3 minutes. Like, it's pretty insane. So you can indefinitely pretty much track this character, especially if after you get a revive off, and then maybe you have enough HP, you can go and chase them down or whatnot. You can find out where they're at. So this is a very good like situational counter character. That I think will be very useful, depending on the situations and certain like gameplay. Being immune to poison, there is the bomb exploders that will decimate you with a massive poison cloud and do a shit ton of damage. But being immune to that, this is actually really, really good. I'm not gonna lie. So, like I said, each class I think so far has their viability and their own different gameplay. I think so far out of all of them, in my opinion, that I think Hugo just needs a little bit of a tweaking. Honestly, like I like the idea behind him, but I think between all the characters, I think they're all pretty well balanced depending on like where you would say gameplay lies. But I think Hugo, unfortunately, is just a little bit on the underside of competing and whatnot. Like, he's just not as well rounded, I would say, as some of the other ones. So I would like to see a little bit of tweaking on some of these talents, and I think if they do that, he would actually be very strong, and then you could maybe make him like almost like a tank class. Let's get in the main part. Now, your main focus here of extracting and actually doing your looting is your typical HUD here. The HUD is not too terrible. The HUD's actually half decent. You're gonna have different quests from NPCs that you got to talk to and do, which will give you bonus experience, bonus items, bonus rewards, as well as, you know, different vendors that you can buy items from. So when you do start getting a little low, obviously you have something to buy from. The big thing here is going to be, after you choose what character you're going to want, is obviously going to then be looking at your passives. Now, you don't get your first one until level 3. You get your second one at level 6, and then you get your ultimate at level 9 for all. This is across all classes. The big thing, though, that is different is when you do actually prestige with a class, the cool thing is all of these abilities for that character that you prestige with is now unlocked for any of your other characters that you would start playing. So, for example, if you were the healing class and I would have my self-heal ability here and I prestiged with it, instead of having my tactical of line infantry, I could actually put in a ability for just, you know, the healing, the self-heal ability, which is kind of nice. So that will definitely be an interesting one to see how that plays out. The other big thing is then you have your mastery tree. This, torn opinions about this one so far. The only reason being is because of the way it combines gameplay. Some of them, you know, if you go to the martial, it's your weapon balance and like melee balance, less stamina used, you know, faster run speed while holding melee weapons, you know, faster run speed while holding a rifle or the any type of ranged weapons. Then you also have, as well as reload speed faster for each type of weapon. Then you have the survival tree, which is kind of in the name. You survive. It has different things for healing, food and energy drink consumption, or even down towards the bottom here, ones that for armor repair and how to heal allies when they are downed. Skill points or mastery points do make a difference because I mean currently I'm level 18 and we have gone against level 60s and 40s, and I'll tell you what, when you got somebody that can carry a melee weapon and charge you at a like this would at 5 stacks be 30% faster, you don't stand a chance. There is no getting away from somebody that can charge at you with such a fast melee speed. You're just you can't get away because they can outrun you. Next, you got your storage guy over here. You got little Louie, who's always saying he's scared of the dark. Kind of annoying. Over here, you got your storage. Now, a lot of people aren't going to really explain this to you, but I'll give you a quick rundown. You can see your silver. This is currently what is on you, and the left-hand side is your stash. Now, over here, you can obviously have anything over here in the stash, all your different items. Then at the top here, at the left, there is actually a little icon for weapons. That is where your weapons are stored. A lot of people aren't understanding where the hell their weapons are when they first get into the match because the game doesn't really tell you. Yes, it is in that little box, like that little box right there. You have to hit that in order to get your weapons up. So that is one that is kind of a little bit on the frustrating side, but maybe they'll make that a little bit easier of a tab or maybe make the tab bigger. I don't know. Then you can also increase your capacity here. So you just have to use bags that you extract with or that you have currently in your inventory that you can just automatically increase your storage space. So that's a big one here that a lot of people also don't know about, is increasing their own storage space. Other than that, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's like every other extraction shooter for all of your, you know, all of your type of storage inside of any type of extraction game. Next, let's talk about the health. Health-wise, okay, so everybody has 100 HP. It's bare minimum. You got your healing ampules. These are like probably the most basic ones that you're gonna find. They give you 10 health per use. So a stack of 5 is only giving you 50, half your health. A little rough. So it is nice to go kind of, you know, and find some of the better ones that will give you, like, you know, blue ones give you 50. Green ones give you 25, and then the purple ones give you 75. And I don't know if there's a legendary one. I would probably imagine, maybe, I don't know. Haven't found one. The highest I found is purple so far. So that's one to keep an eye out for sure. Then we got the actual armor. So here is where it gets a little different. So when you actually have the armor on, this will actually provide 1 bar, and each type of set provides different armor. So you got like the leather, which obviously it says it provides 2 bars compared to the cloth or the quilled one that has 1 bar. It's pretty much a cloth one. The big thing is it is just a straight damage reduction until those bars are gone. So normally it's only going to last 1 shot, especially the one with 1 bar. It's only lasts 1 shot. Now the one with 2 bars, depending on what gun or how far away you are, it might last both bars, and then you'll take very, very minimal damage, which I have had that happen. I've been shot from a range, and it took both my bars away, but I got dealt like 5 damage. So it was kind of nice, right? It does help. It is like a flat like 25% damage reduction per bar, and it's not like stacked. So what it is that the damage will hit you, but it is just an overall reduction. So say if you're supposed to get dealt 100 damage, if you only have 1 bar, it's only taken 25%. So say it's going to take like 25 damage away from that shot. That's supposed to take away your red health, right? So then you would get 75 dealt to your red health. And then if you have like 50, 2 bars, say it's going to be 50. So it'd be taking 50 away from your actual health, compared to, you receiving 50 or all of it dealt to your body. That's the way I understand it. I could be wrong. If I am wrong, please feel free to drop a comment below to let me understand if I am wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's how they're basing the armor from what I've been seeing done in the game. Now, there is multiple ways to heal yourself. Let's get into that real quick. You have the crude ampules, like I was showing you, and the different health ampules, but then you also got a blood bag. Okay, I don't currently have one on me because I died with it, but a blood bag is a infinite use, which you can use to heal yourself infinitely, but at the same time, it is very, very slow. If you are below 10% health, you're probably going to sit there for at least, no joke, 5 to 8 minutes to heal yourself to full HP, and I'm not even exaggerating. It's very slow. And then same thing with your armor. What these do is you have your plates, which you can get up to legendary plates. So blue is ceramic, green is a leather, I believe. You got the regular cloth armor plates as ones. Then there's the green, I think, are leather plates or something. All I found so far is ceramic, but I know there is purple and legendary plates. Purple is 4, legendary, I believe, is 5. What they do is they are like an instant. Well, okay, I shouldn't say instant, but they're like a 3-second. You do the animation, you put it on you, and then you crank it back, and it locks the armor in place. Boom. And it will heal as depending on how many bars that it says it will. Like cloth is 1 bar, this is 3 bars, etc., etc. Then you also have these little journeyman tongs, or well, you can find these like little repair tools. Now they come anywhere from a common, which is grayish white, the whole way up to, I believe they also go to legendary. These are, once again, infinite use, but drastically slower compared to using a plate. So there is, you're good and bad with them. Like, obviously, you have your quick heals, but they are used on consumption. And then you have the infinite heals, but they are a lot slower to utilize. Same with your armor. You have the journeyman tongs that you can use to repair your armor, which is indefinite. So, you get into a long gunfight and you can just keep repairing your armor, which is nice, but just takes a lot of time. Or you can use the plates, which are a lot faster. So that is pretty much your health and health, armor, your actual survivability aspect, I would say. Now, you do have some food that you can eat. You got food and drinks. They give you different buffs as well while you're out there, like this one. Consumed to increase reload speed by 15% for 8 minutes, which those are super nice as well, especially if you plan on getting into a fight. You can pop one, and that extra 15% stacked on some top of your talents that you do get, that is pretty huge. I'm not going to lie, that is some pretty significant buffs that you can get out of them. So just beware of that, that they can actually provide a decent little boost for you. Let's quickly go over to appearance. Now, this is pretty cool. You can do it for your character, your back, and your weapons. They all have different appearances that you can find throughout the maps. They are very rare to find, but as you can see, I have a legendary one locked for my character, and once you unlock it, you have that skin now designed for your character. But in order to unlock it, you do have to go out and find things in the open world. So right now I have 3 out of the 5 items already completed and turned in order to craft my skin. Once I find those, then I can craft it and unlock this skin, and then this will be my appearance in the game. Wow. Which is pretty cool because you can find some different ones. There's some pretty cool ones, honestly. And it just is whichever one you want to kind of go with for your playstyle. And the same thing with your guns. You get different ones on your guns, and your weapons. So like you can get different ones on your battle axe or your claymore. Like if you find this one, so some of them are pretty cool. Some of them are not nearly as cool as some other ones, but they do come, like that one is like super awesome to find. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, some of them are really cool, but that's just something little simple that they do have. The next thing is, like I said, you got different vendors here that obviously you can buy and sell from, and they can sell you different items, whether or not like a weapon here, like this one's weapons. Sometimes they'll have these little missives on them that you can actually buy, and they will give you experience. So then what you do is you can shift click, right click it, and then read it, and it will give you experience added to your compendium over here, which just gives you maps and missives and a little different extra things that you can find, and tell you what they are utilized for. So it's kind of nice. It's a little like little lore story and stuff, whatnot. Nice thing is that they give you lore with it, but these guys also contain that they can give you a thing called professions. You can have 2 professions, and professions are definitely going to be very sought after and very valuable in this game. Um, Professions, as you can see, you have to still find the recipes in the world. For me, like I went gunsmith to make the cool weapons, but you still have to unlock them in the open world or find the recipe and extract with it and then learn it. But then you can craft it. So like if I hit level 21, or not 21, 75, I can craft the ulster, but it only takes 2 items to craft it instead of trying to find it in open world. It is easier to find these items and craft them than it is to find the weapon itself. So especially when you get to like some of the higher end weapons, it is going to be a lot nicer because you might be able to find the materials to craft them rather than actually finding the weapon themselves. And that goes with, you know, if you go with like the swordsmith guy who crafts all your weapons, like your melee weapons, then your armor guys up top there. Like I said, and you got one for pretty much everything: healing, cooking, herbalism, to find additional herbs out there for your medicines, your cloth and bags, your weapons. And then this guy's a conservator, or a conservator, who lets me refine different items so I can craft weapon parts with it. Like I can get damaged screws, which is what I need refined into sharp screws for weapons, or refined gunpowder, so then I can go make ammo. So that is the profession system's actually really nice. It's actually a nice little twist that they added and brought in. And it's actually, I think, pretty well done, especially with how valuable and how hard it is to really find some of these weapons, because some of these better weapons that you do want to find, for example, like let me go to my weapons, like right here, like the compass or even the rapiers, like it is very hard. I'm not gonna lie. Like you need a bunch of keys, so you need like bronze and silver keys, unless you get very lucky and find one in a non-locked key or a non-locked like crate that you can find it. It's not that common. Like I've been playing like almost 30 hours now, and this is the only one I found. So yeah, you have to have keys if you want to find the good loot, and the keys, um, they're not very. It seems honestly like the keys are a higher drop rate inside the actual towns. Like if you go into towns and whatnot, compared to open world or just like killing even enemies inside like the main bases and stuff like that. So haven't gotten to the dungeons yet. There are dungeons that you can fight, like the world boss or like these big bosses and whatnot. So I'm not sure how that is actually going to be utilized. Now let's talk about the weapons here and how they actually feel. You got some different types of weapons. So you got obviously your flintlocks, which is a majority of all the ones that you're going to be using in the beginning. Very, very slow reload. Some of them, like this one, does high damage, but extremely slow reload. Like I'm talking like 18-second reload. Like very, very long reload. But the damage output is very strong. Like you can one-tap somebody if they don't have armor, or even if you do hit a headshot and they don't have, you know, body armor, they will be one-shot. And then there's helmets that you can obviously get to prevent a headshot damage, so that way you're not getting one-shot by a headshot. So, you know, these are different types of flintlocks that you have, and then you got these types of ones that are like this one has like a little stripper clip on the side. And you shoot 4 rounds, and then you just instantly reload, and it's like a 4-second reload, but I reloaded 4 rounds. But the damage output is not as high as the flintlocks. And there's tons of crazy different weapons that you can find, and they all do different damage. Once again, like there's a claymore, big-ass claymores that you can find, super slow swing, but, you know, better block rate. But then you can get like the rapier, which is, you know, a lot faster to strike with. Not as heavy as a block is able to, but the nice thing is you can spec into lunges and faster run speed, and then you can kind of attack a little bit faster. Melee does feel pretty good. We'll show definitely some gameplay here of attacking zombies and whatnot. I will say, compared to the other playtests I have done, my god, it feels 1,000 times better. So just to them. And then I'll show you how PvP is. PvP feels right now very it's good in certain situations, but it's also very frustrating because, like I said, the way the matchmaking is currently is you just go up, you talk to this guy up here, lovely fucking big chungus, you know, from the chat TAU, because this is where you're always going to be, you know, this is like your main hub. And then you talk to this guy and you say, I'm ready to depart. You find an area that you want to go, and then you can depart on it. Now, here's the thing. You go in and it's either solo or trios, or duos. But no matter what, you're getting in the same lobby as everybody else. So you could go in as a solo, but you're going to go against trios. Duos goes against trios, but you could also go against other solos. You could go against duos. It's just a hodgepodge, right? The downfall that kind of sucks is new players that come in, they are going to get ramsacked right off the rip because of the indefinite imbalance between somebody that is level 60 compared to somebody that's under level 10. Under level 10, they don't have their abilities pretty much, and they are going to be like, what the f just killed me, while the level 60 guy has all these mastery points and all these abilities that they can go into, and they're like, say, running faster or shooting faster, doing all this shit, and you're like, well, that's not fair. And that is where one of the issues is currently in the PvP. You know, we get it to where we've been in shots where we went against people with like, they were level like 48, I think, and they had like blue weapons, like they had the fast shooting rifle that I showed you, and they also had the other one that's an 8-cylinder round, and they can shoot 8 rounds. So they shot 8 rounds by the time we were able to get one shot off, and it was, dude, just the indifference in the PvP style, it was just like, well, that was not fair at all. If you third party in right now is the main shebang. I mean, that's kind of like any extraction, you know. You third party a fight, and it's just easy cleanup because most people are already injured or whatnot, and you can just go in, shoot them from the side, or even just melee them, and it's GG. So I will say, hopefully they tweak that a little bit. I think there needs to be some tweaking onto the matchmaking. There's rumors that it's like aggressive matchmaking, kind of like Arc Raiders, but there's nothing confirmed on that I have read. They just state that they're tweaking back-end matchmaking results, so whatever that means. Hopefully we get some clarity on that. Overall, though, the game is running pretty smooth. Been having really fun with it. I know a lot of people are complaining about the game and how it runs. I will say, though, it is CPU bound, or very CPU heavy, so if you know, you can still have a mid graphics card. I mean, because we have a 7900 XT, nothing crazy. But we have the 9800 X3D chip, and we run everything on high graphics and still get over 100 FPS on the game. And it runs completely fine. Yeah, well, the game is very CPU heavy. It is not GPU heavy. I mean, it still kind of is GPU heavy, but like in a sense where your CPU is going to be doing more of the actual hard like physic loading and like scale loading when you're in a map as well, with all the assets and stuff, compared to like the GPUs just doing more of the rendering assets. So yeah, I think people need to realize that as well. The game is a lot of fun. I'm going to be playing it all weekend. Me and Hyde will be on it all weekend. Hopefully I answer some questions for you, and leave a comment with what your favorite character is and how you like playing the game, and see what your thoughts are.